Working with those involved in the design, planning, management and experience of Stevens House and Gardens to shape the nature and content of a Sculpture Trail walking tour. My name is Rebekah and I'm an artist curator working independently with the venue Stevens House and Gardens, who I've been working in partnership with since an artist residence in 2018. I curate and co-manage the biennial Sculpture Trail, The Skies Moving Sideways. My own arts practice develops out of a desire to walk, and Stevens House and Gardens has been a place where I personally spent much time as a young mother, raising her children and enjoying nature. This video presents feedback taken from a curator's tour of the trail and explores how the public experience of the gardens and tour expands on notions of the walking interview, as mentioned by Evans and Jones 2011 in The Walking Interview, Methodology, Mobility and Place, and how an investment of attention to the landscape grounds at Stevens House and Gardens using the psychogeographic method of a walking school, referred to in Urban Research in Film using walking tours and psychogeographic approaches, Singleton 2024, enables an enrichment of observation and experience of place. The Sculpture Trail was first conceived as a local response to COVID and was especially curated for this Grade 2 listed mid-Victorian museum building, which nestles behind a busy urban high road in Finchley Central. Since that first response, the trail continues to work with its neighbourhood communities, whilst remaining a testing ground for artists exploring concepts on resilience and transformation within the context of place and landscape. If one was walking down the high street, unaware of the landscaped garden's existence, it would not be a site that was easily discoverable because of its walled and secluded architectural design. In 2024, after the trail successfully managed to secure Arts Council England funding for a second time, the venue invited me to submit a 3-year plan for the trail to become an annual event. How would it shape the design and planning in relation to their current arts and cultural programme? More importantly, what would the local neighbourhood response be to an annual sculpture trail that featured mainly ephemeral and impermanent artworks rather than the traditional and permanent material of bronze? I like the idea of programming a walking school within the curator's tour. My own visual arts walking practice is informed by an array of publications on walking, such as Ways to Wander, Quilman Hind 2015, Wanderlust, A History of Walking, Solnit 2014, and Walking Bodies, Billinghurst Hind Smith 2020. I was also interested in unpicking questions around the framework of an artist talk. Since COVID, there has been an increase of artist groups and talks popping up across social media, and as a neurodivergent, I find the method of walking and talking far more useful. The school became the fun element in what was publicised by the venue as the Fun Curators Tour, a walk and talk with the artists. My hope was that the audience would feel a multi-sensory connection with the gardens and being in nature, that a walking school would bring a sense of agency not only to their written responses during our seated feedback session in the cafe later, but also a sense of intimacy in their engagement with nature and the managed gardens. Evans and Jones 2011. One of the aims of the Curator's Fun Tour was to challenge current concepts on what a traditional walking tour looked like at Stevens House and Gardens. A trail tour is very different to a museum tour, with longer walking distances in between the exhibits. Unlike a gallery tour, which presents a confined interior setting and shorter walking distances between the artworks, The Sculpture Trail offers the viewer the experience of walking outdoors in the open air and moments for pause with nature, an aspect conducive to mental wandering. Pierce Lawhon, 2015. In a piece of research previously commissioned by the venue, known as Dwell Time, Keenan 2019, it concluded that visitors who dwell or linger for 2 hours or more in the gardens found it favourable to experiencing feelings of happiness. These factors, combined with the venue's regular seasonal programming of theatre in the gardens, prompted me to commission a walking score written by the artistic researcher, senior lecturer at Stockholm University of the Arts and Academy of Music and Drama Gothenburg, Army Scanberg. The score would be performed by 2 trail artists, Laura Morton-Griffiths and myself, Rebekah Dean. Scanberg's score Sculpture U appeared as a set of instructions printed on the back of 500 free colour trail maps, which were available to the public at various dispensary points throughout the venue for the duration of the trail. The score developed from her artistic research as a choreographer and performer. In an outdoor performance titled Hibieta, Hybrid Heart, 2014, which was a performative promenade through a park, Scanberg recognised that her audience were never static spectators, but instead followed along with the performance from place to place. On being invited to move with her, some became emotionally engaged as they accompanied her performance. Elements of these movements transitioned to Sculpture U. Scanberg states, "My aim with the movement script walking score is to elucidate the embodiment of walking in between sculptures, points, artist statements. Not only walking from one sculpture to the next, but also paying attention to the embodiment of firstly, spaces in front of sculptures and artist statements, and how to mirror these through movements, and secondly walking, newly informed, transitioning from one space to another, acknowledging the sky." As curator, the format of including a walking score provided not only an opportunity to gather and inform trail evaluation activities, but also became a strategy for creating a space of theatre to evoke emotions within the shared and multiplicity of space alongside others. Singleton 2024, Massey 1999. Anybody could perform the score during the tour and thereby become co-creators in the score's performance. The generosity of Scanberg's score is amplified across all components of the Sculpture Trail and was presented 12 times throughout the tour, allowing for a method that was replicable and thus reproduced, which made the score a prize component for evaluation activities. Pierce Lawhon, 2015. Did it produce the findings I was anticipating? 14 people booked onto the Free Fun Curators tour through the venue's booking system, and 11 turned up on the day. All tour attendees were invited to respond to 2 short written questions over refreshments. Question 1. What did you find most satisfying about the tour today? Thinking about walking and taking time to look and see the trees and the artworks, I enjoyed the artist walk. Listening to their comments helped me think more deeply. I found the gentle pace, the gracious setting, and the opportunity to hear the artists speak about their works so rewarding. It was fascinating to be able to reflect on the pieces and the environment in the context of the performances as well. The sculptures were beautiful. I loved the experience of walking in nature to reach every spot. it was a perfect way to enjoy a moment of contemplation and art. Viewing the pieces a second time and hearing more about the creative process was illuminating. It also made me see different aspects of the environment in a space I know well. Relaxing atmosphere connecting art to nature. The pace at which we went round the pieces of work, giving us a chance to take on board the environment, i.e. nature, something we take for granted. The conversations that are going on between the work and the gardens, the freedom to roam around, the tiny droplets of rain, birdsong, artists talking about their work, inviting us in, nourishing us, the attention to grief, the joy of live art out in the open and the walking performance regulating us. And in response to the second open-ended question, if there were any changes you would make to the tour, what would they be? Most of the feedback was for no change, apart from one person who stated that they would like the tour to be a bit slower. This video presentation was created for the Royal Geographic Society and Institute of British Geographers Conference 2025, University of Birmingham, August 26-29 by Rebekah Dean. Official trail photographer Sissy Byrne. Walk score video documentation captured by trail tour attendee Paul Dean. Special reference, Walking as Method, toward methodological forthrightness and comparability in urban geographical research, Joseph Pearce, Mary Lawhorn, 2015. Dwell Time paper by Emily Keenan, presented at Landscape and Heritage Meeting, Stevens House and Gardens, 2019.